Hey, what's up you guys? It's Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly Walking Dead review, and this week's episode was entitled Self-Help. And yeah, that fits into the episode in a specific scene, so we'll get to that within a few minutes. And yeah, this episode was definitely an improvement over last week's Slabtown episode. Mainly because, if you guys watched my review of Slabtown, you'll see that I didn't really think that Beth warranted all the focus, or the main primary focus to be on her. Well, you could argue that maybe the primary focus was on the hospital group, which it kind of was, but I don't believe Beth herself is interesting enough to carry an entire episode and have us root for her for an entire episode. I don't think she's compelling enough as a character. I don't really care if she lives or dies, personally. That's just me, though. You can like Beth if you want to, but I just don't really care about her too much. I don't think she warrants being at the forefront, character-wise, of an episode. So, this episode is an improvement over that, because I believe the Abraham and Eugene story is quite interesting. I believe it actually warrants primary focus in an episode, so I thought it was much more worth it this time around. And some people are calling this episode filler. No, because we found out quite a huge thing at the end of it. Some people seen it coming. I too seen it coming. I mean, it was kind of obvious. It was too good to be true with Eugene's saving the world idea. That's not gonna be a serious consideration until towards the end of the series, if anything. And even then, it's gonna be like, I don't know about that one. But in this one, I'm going out of order here, but in this one, we basically found out that Eugene's whole plan was a lie. We'll get more to that in a few minutes. Oh, another big focus in this episode was Abraham's backstory. We got quite a few flashbacks regarding what happened with him. And basically we've seen he was trying to protect who I assume was his family, I believe his wife and a couple of kids. And it shows, throughout the episode, it shows flashes of them hiding out in a supermarket or a grocery store type of thing. And we see him that, some humans showed up and he had to basically kill them all to protect them. And it shows him basically beating a guy in with a can of food and stuff like that and killing them. And when he goes up to his family to see if they're okay, he says, yeah, he's opening up his arms for a hug and stuff, but they're just terrified of him pretty much by seeing how brutal and somewhat monstrous he had to act right there. And really, though, they were just scared and frightened by that reality, and they left him and they all went to sleep at night. And they left him a note saying, "Don't try to find us." And that basically caused him to, of course, try to find them. But I believe he came upon their corpses, which were not turned because they were pretty much all devoured by walkers. So yeah, that's pretty rough for him. And after that, we basically seen how Abraham and Eugene crossed paths. Abraham was literally about to shoot himself in the head, and they ended all, understandably. But Eugene showed up and asked him for his help, and after Abraham quickly killed the walkers chasing after Eugene, Eugene said, "I'm on a very urgent mission to Washington." And so that's basically how Eugene coaxed Abraham into following along with this whole thing. Now, my understanding of the psychology behind it is that, just think about it, Abraham was about to end his life, after everything he'd been through with his family and his family rejecting him like that, and basically being devoured by walkers. He pretty much had no reason to live, and when Eugene asked for his help, to basically save the world or stop this thing that caused all this in the first place, Abraham basically had a purpose. He had a reason, really. And, it's almost like Andrea said to Beth all the way back in season 2, she has to find her own reasons. And this was Abraham's reason to keep going. It was a reason for him to keep himself alive, really. And so when Eugene reveals at the end of the episode, when Glenn and Abraham are at each other's throats, whether to go a ways back and avoid this herd of walkers, or just go forward and push through, no wasting time, pretty much. no going back whatsoever. When Abraham and Glenn are at each other's throats over that, and probably about to come to fisticuffs once again. Eugene basically said, "I lied. I'm not a scientist." So yeah, that was. I think he finally felt guilty that, oh yeah, they're about to kill each other because of this lie I started. So I think that's why I finally let it go, and I think it was because of Tara talking to him earlier as well. That made him feel guilty about it. That was another highlight of this episode. I really liked that they gave Tara a good amount of time in this. I actually like Tara quite a bit. I actually like her over Maggie. I like her more than Sasha. I like her more than Bob, even though Bob's dead now. I actually really like Tara a lot. I find her very likable. Of course, the whole lesbian thing's perfectly fine too. And yeah, I'm glad they've been keeping her around, and it was nice to see her sort of try to comfort Eugene, give him some relatability and some companionship, because Eugene just basically watched Rosita and Abraham having sex, and Abraham and Rosita had basically made fun of Eugene while they were holed up in a library, basically saying, "Oh yeah, look, he's watching us again. He's in the self-help section." That's where the episode title came from. And I like Abraham. I definitely feel bad for him after this. I actually really like Abraham's character. I like Michael Cudliss's acting. He's doing really well. But Abraham definitely came off like an ass there, and he comes off like a loudmouth douche at times, but I still feel bad for him. And I did feel bad for Eugene right there too. I think he probably has a thing for Rosita as well. Although he just told Tara he loves or appreciates the woman form, or whatever, something like that. And it was kind of funny because Eugene basically admitted to Tara that, oh yeah, if I didn't have this whole cure thing going on, or if I wasn't so smart and able to fix all these things, you guys want to keep me around, you guys are going to be my friends, you wouldn't even want to keep me alive. And Tara basically told him that's not true, and so you can imagine that's a little bit more questionable now after finding out the whole reason for all this is pretty much a lie. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, and because of that Abraham psychology I explained earlier, with him finding his reason after everything that happened just before that, I completely understand his reaction at the end, basically punching out Eugene. Some people think Eugene's dead. I don't think he's dead. I think Abraham pretty much just knocked him out with 1 or 2 hits. But I don't blame Abraham at all for reacting like that. And it's pretty much saying, oh, your whole reason for living has been a complete waste of time and a lie. So yeah, I don't blame him whatsoever. Again, I also like how they're fleshing out, well, Abraham especially, but I also like how they're showing off Eugene a little bit more in this episode too. Of course, it's selfish of him to make up this whole lie just so the others would keep him alive. But I do feel bad for him with the way Abraham and Rosita were acting to him earlier in the library, and also I don't really. It's understandable. A lot of people will probably try to make things up like that think they can't really defend themselves. And it just gets to me the way Abraham and Rosita were treating him a little bit. But we'll see where that goes. I know from the comics there is some kind of spoilers if you haven't read the comics. There is a love triangle, a bit of one between Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. But we'll see how they do that in the TV series. Maggie also tried to comfort Eugene earlier as well. And there's that bus crash, so they were looking for a vehicle the whole time. Another great thing about this episode that puts it over Slabtown and makes it a very good episode is the fact that they mixed in all this great character development. And at the same time, it had quite a bit of fun action within the episode as well. Because we got that fire hose scene of Eugene actually taking the initiative and getting on top of it and killing the walkers with the fire hose, which you probably wouldn't guess we would see. But some people complain about that. Oh, that won't really kill walkers. But some of those fire hoses are like really high pressure, and they can actually hurt and blow you back a little bit, I think. So just think of the walkers' decaying bodies. It makes perfect sense that they'd probably be, killed like that, or start disintegrating on the impact pretty much. I think. I mean, I think it makes sense, at least in the Walking Dead world. So that was really cool. That was fun. One of the more ridiculous zombie kills, but it was still pretty awesome. And Glenn was good. It was nice to have him and Maggie around. I'm still a little bit annoyed by Maggie. You know, everyone's annoyed by her, pretty much forgetting that she has a sister. I mean, I get the idea that she probably assumes Beth is dead, because realistically, you know, if she's on her own, Beth isn't going to be the one to survive. But still, it seems like she would mention her a few more times, or say, oh yeah, but I wonder what ever happened to Beth, at least, or something like that. Or she should have tried to find Beth for a little while at first anyway, before they went off on this trip to Washington. That's ended now, but still, it is a little bit annoying. I'm not the biggest fan of Maggie either, but I do like that Glenn and her relationship are still like a good cornerstone of the show. It's good that we still have Glenn around. And so yeah, that's really all I have to say about this episode. Of course, I remember the actress who plays Rosita from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide when she played Susie Crabgrass. But yeah, she's doing an alright job as well, and she almost drew her gun on Abraham. You know, so it kind of shows that Abraham really could go either way here. He could really go over the edge, or he could like find some kind of middle ground. And I think when he seen Rosita drawing his gun, about to draw her gun, that reminded him of the way his wife and kids were looking at him, and that's why he stopped and walked off by himself. And we've seen the scene from the previews of him dropping to his knees and starting to cry, which I don't blame him for either, because like I said a few times by now, you know, it's pretty much his reason for living to this point has been a waste. So yeah, good episode, good character development, good action, definitely a step up from Slabtown last week. All the characters warranted this episode. It all felt worth it. It made sense. And it looks like from the previews for next week, we're going to be getting more answers about what's going on with Daryl and Carol and the situation at the hospital. I hope we see Rick and the rest of the main group again next week or very, very soon. But we'll see where that goes. So yeah, good episode. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I definitely like Abraham's character, as well as Tara's especially. Eugene's, I'm getting to care a little bit more about Eugene too. So yeah, I'll definitely catch you guys for next weekend's episode, next Sunday. And also be reviewing A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, this coming weekend as well. So I'll have those two videos to look forward to. So I'll catch you guys next time, and peace.